They are the top 20 all-time money winners on the BASS circuits. They are the top 27 points getters over the last 3 years on the Citgo Bassmaster Tour. The current Toyota Rookie of the Year is in. The new Citgo Bassmaster Angler of the Year and the reigning Classic champion are here as well. The 50 best in the business, the Elite 50, are in town, fishing for a $100,000 top prize at each of the 4 events. And more importantly, fishing to see who's the best of the best.
The Citgo Bassmaster Tournament Trail.
The Elite 50 season is officially underway. Welcome to Smith Lake in Alabama, and they truly are the best of the best. The best pros come here, and you want to be here because for these 4 events, these guys bring their big game. I'm Tommy Sanders along with Jerry McInnes. We may be fishing with some flukes out there today, Jerry, but there are no flukes in the field, no one-hit wonders.
Absolutely. Forget about all these qualifications. These are the best 50 professional bass anglers out there.
That's a great reason to be here. We talked about those qualifications, that points list, the 27 points anglers. That's over a 3-year period. That's very stringent, very strong, very hard to get into. The money list, again, the 20 all-time top money winners. We got the Citgo Angler of the Year in there. Aaron Martins is in there as well. Toyota Rookie of the Year, Dave Wallach is in there. And Takahiro Omori, the reigning Citgo Bassmaster Classic
How'd you
champ.
like to be on the bubble? You didn't quite make it.
Somebody has to be.
Oh, man. Mike IACONELLI jumped out at 21st place just in the last few weeks on the money list. Knocked Randy Block out of Reeland. IACONELLI's in the little line that goes under 27 right there. And just above it is Mark Tyler, who drove all the way home to Phoenix, and Tripp called him and said, "You made it." And he had to turn around and come back. John Murray, on the other hand, is just below the bubble. So good news and bad news.
Two sides to every coin, absolutely. At the top of the list, as far as a favorite goes, well, Kevin VANDAM, he won the series championship last year. There have been 4 E50s, and 2 of them have been won by Mark Davis. Those 2 guys are in the field. Again, it is strong. We are ready to go. Let's get you out to Smith Lake, constructed back in 1960, deep, clear water, just like bottled drinking water. It's an amazing place.
So if it is that clear, I bet we're going to see some sight fishing. Yeah, the bass are still on the beds here on Smith Lake in northern Alabama. Many of them have moved off on the beds, but there still is a little bit of sight fishing yet to come for these guys. Our 50 boats are using the whole lake on days 1 and 2, and then the final 12 will move to a 6-hole course. And Tommy, Kevin Worth didn't even crank his big engine. I think when they sent him off, he just put his trolling motor down, eased over there on the bank, and he's already on some fish. And he is sight fishing, throwing a little finesse worm. And you know what? We came back there several times during the day, and Kevin was still going up and down that bank and did pretty good.
Got his whole limit, as a matter of fact, in this hole. And what a treat for all the folks that came out to watch that first day takeoff. They got to see some fish catching without even moving a muscle. Kevin Worth did a good job in there. I should add to what you said, Jerry, that the whole lake they're using today, days 1 and 2, except that 6-hole course, that's off limits until the guys get on it.
Right. They had to pass right through it. They were able to look at it, you know, but they could not stop their boat or explore much at all. It really, the course is going to be great when we get to it.
Here's a guy who has had a great season, our Toyota Rookie of the Year. Dave Wallach finished the season in strong fashion, no worse than 15th in the last 3 tournaments of the year, and he's doing good here in the E50.
16 pounds, 9 ounces, and Dave Wallach is the Toyota Rookie of the Year.
Dave Wallach from Warrior Run, Pennsylvania, now doing well in the Elite 50 competition. His first Elite 50. It's no surprise to find that Dave Wallach as well is sight fishing.
A lot of guys sight fishing in the first few days anyway. Everybody had a few fish pegged. They went out and caught them on day 1. Yeah, it slowed down a little bit after that, but he does have a fish in his view right here. And if you will take a close look, you'll see him right about the middle of your screen. Now he's kind of moving and looking at David. David is going to pitch a little tube in here. And this doesn't mean that this fish is on a bed now, but there's probably some fry in the area. And boy, they are vicious when they're protecting their fry. And when that bait went in his area, boy, he was all over it. I believe this is a largemouth, but boy, we're going to see a lot of spotted bass today, predominantly spotted bass.
is going to be a keeper for Dave Warlock. In case you were wondering, the studies have shown, the surveys have shown, that once you catch these fish off the bed, let them loose, they go right back to where they were. They continue that work that they are cut out for. Now, Chad Morgenthaler of Carbondale, Illinois, never had a top 3 finish yet with the Bassmasters, but he is looking particularly good in this Elite 50 competition on Smith Lake.
And you thought Kevin Worth was the only guy that was going to catch any fish today. Actually, everybody's going to catch a lot of fish. They need to be 16 inches long, though. We are going to see a lot of spotted bass, even though this is a large amount.
Chad Morgenthaler, his 2-day total, 25 pounds, 1 ounce. That'll move him into the top 12. He'll fish on day 3. The man who won 2 out of the 4 Elite 50s last year, Mark Davis, a great 2-day total, 28-13. He's in second place after 2 days. And our leader after 2 days, the man who won it all on the Elite 50s last year, Kevin VanDam.
They're really hard to catch, though, right now. I was just real fortunate and got into the right little area where that had some fish in the right mood and was able to catch a couple of big ones.
All right, we've got our top 12, a strong field it is. Notice that 6 of those 12 have won the Sit-Go Bassmaster Classic before. We'll be back with another Classic champ, Rick Clunn, to help analyze it all as we get started on day number 3. It could be a bit of a rough start due to the weather. We'll get her going when we come back.
This is the glamorous part of fishing right here.
A little change in plans this morning.
Go Bassmaster Tournament Trail is brought to you by Anheuser-Busch, Sitco, Lowrance, and Mercury Marine.
We fished our first 2 days of the first Elite 50 of 2005. We've got our field of 12 ready to fish the 6-hole course. Mother Nature says, hold on just a second. We're going to delay this thing for about an hour.
A little change in plans this morning. We're supposed to be launching the boats right now. Lightning's coming around all around. It's rained so much the bilge pumps are kicking on. Hail.
This is the glamorous part of fishing right here. Sitting in a Toyota truck, waiting for the storm to pass. Oh, man.
Oh! We've probably got an inch of rain, though, here in the last 15 minutes, so I'm sure all the pockets are going to be dirty, and you sure can't see when it's weather like this. So I'm kind of really rethinking my game plan right now. We'll have to totally change. That's why this morning I brought 16 rods, and I brought all kind of tackle, because you never know what to expect when you get in these courses.
Well, it was a massive thunderstorm, including a lot of rain and even hail, but finally it ends. It's only going to be about an hour delay, so our 12 anglers are ready to go. Again, they're fishing a 6-hole course. That means 2 anglers in each hole. They're originally going to get a little more than an hour in each one of the holes. Now that we've had the delay, about an hour even in each one of the 6 holes. And if our weather holds off for the rest of the day, they'll all get a happy hour at the end of the day where they can fish anywhere on the 6-hole course that they want to. And we're ready to get underway. Mike IACONELLI waits to fish.
2 more minutes.
2 minutes! I want to make a cast!
You're not going to see me slow down much today at all. Even though I'm fishing a technique that's a slow technique, I'm going to fish very fast and methodical.
40 seconds.
40 seconds. This is fun. This is exciting. It doesn't get better than this, man. Weather's a drag, but this is exciting.
All right, big old spot. Get ready.
Okay. Now I want you to go down there, and I want you to catch some spotted bass and get me a Magnum. Thank you.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Here we go. Showtime. This hole style is the purest form of fishing out there. You think about it. In fishing, what I think makes an angler great is his ability to dissect a situation quickly. We've never been here. We've never seen it. And in an hour, I have to figure out each hole. I mean, that's really what pure fishing is all about.
All right, Ike's ready. He's just waiting for the bell to ring so he can get started. And right now, I have to introduce the guy who needs no introduction. As worn out as that phrase is, it's so apt for anyone who knows bass fishing. Rick Clunn, thanks for being with us today.
Thanks, Tom.
What do you think about what Ike just said about this course here and course fishing in general?
I completely agree with him. This is my favorite format. I think it's the purest reflection of angler ability against other anglers that there is. A lot of our tournaments we go to, there can actually be what I call hidden water. You can pit fish the perfect tournament and execute better than the guy that wins, but because he actually found some hidden water and quality of fish that nobody else found, he actually ends up winning the event.
Best way to find the best man.
I think so.
All right. Any of these holes stand out to you as being particularly potential?
I kind of like hole 2 and hole 4 from my 2 days on the lake because they're both in bends of the creeks. They have, in the bends, they have the major spawning coves and points, and that's tended to be where I found most of the fish that I was successful with.
Let's talk about IACONELLI's 2 techniques he's going to employ today, the 2 patterns anyway, these long clay banks that come out into the secondary point.
That kind of illustrates the multiple patterns that actually were going on during this tournament because he's the only one that I was aware of fishing that kind of pattern. And that's going to be a key in this event, how much of that pattern exists for him. Are you better off fishing a single pattern like some of the guys are, or trying to just use multiple patterns in the different holes, and only time will tell.
And he says he has one other pattern, and that's the seawall.
And the seawall is kind of unusual on this type of lake, and I actually did not see any, so I was surprised to see that he was actually keying on that.
That's it, Mike. Keep covering water. That's exactly what I want to do. I'm going to let that worm sit there for a long period of time. Just keep moving it. Keep my boat in 12 to 14 foot of water, cast to the bank, and bring it down the slope. There you go. It feels good to catch one. Even though it's a short, it feels good to catch one this early. It really does. It verifies that I'm doing the right thing. Man, it just feels good. The other thing I have to stay aware of that I wrote down in my notes this morning is wind. This is a good example of the wind blowing on a rocky bank. Little secondary points, flat rocks. It's got some flat rocks on it. I'm trying to stay aware of all the keys that you've learned this week in qualifying. Here's another one. Let's go. Good one. There's a good one there. No, look at you. Short. We're in the school fish here now. We just got to get a couple keepers. All right. The wind and the flat rock are real key right now. So now I want you to understand what you're doing. Once we're done fishing this spot, then we go around and we duplicate. That's all we do. It's duplication. It's pattern fishing. Man, it feels good. I feel the energy. This early in the morning. 10 after 11, and the juices are flowing. Oh, I love it. It just feels good, man.
Our Classic winner from 2003 has not lost his enthusiasm. How about another Classic winner, Larry NIXON, on the way? He may be playing a few games with Mike IACONELLI, who's fishing the same hole as he is. We'll be right back. Smith Lake in Alabama, the site for the first event of the year for the Elite 50, the top 50 ranked anglers from the Citgo Bassmaster Tour. We are down to 12 anglers now fishing our 6-hole course. This is the first period of competition, and in hole number 1 is where we find Kevin VanDam.
Well, I'm sure hoping that this rain lets up because I got a really good section that I think I can find a couple of fish spawning on if it just stops. It's calm enough to where even with it cloudy like this, I can be able to see. Until then, I can see these pockets are already getting stained, so we're just going to make the most of it. I'm going to fish the baits that I think fit this post-spawn period and the mood that I've seen the fish in the last couple of days. And if I get a chance to sight fish, conditions get right, that's what I'm going to do because that's what got me here.
Boy, Kevin is wanting it to clear up a little bit where he can see these beds. However, in this clear water, a day like this can be, boy, it can be a dynamite day. I want to remind everybody that these guys have not been on this water ever, and they got 1 hour to figure it out. Kevin is a fast fisherman, Tommy, to say the least. Really moves along. He's throwing a jerk bait, a wild shiner jerk bait. He covers a lot of water with it. He throws it in the shallow water, but I'll tell you what, this thing is effective even when it gets out in the deeper water because it will pull fish to it. It will bring them out of 8, 10 feet. A spotted bass is a nosy little character. There's one right there. That fish was not in 4 feet of water. I bet he was in closer to 10 feet of water. Boy, he just come right out there and bop that, and you can see the bank. And I bet you his boat might be sitting in 50 feet.
The curse of Wes is busted.
The curse of Wes he's talking about is cameraman Wes Miller. Been in the boat with Kevin the last few times he's had kind of difficult days, especially recently at Table Rock. But Kevin says the curse is over now. He's catching them.
But we know Wes. It could be a real curse.
Come back. Kevin Van Dam's qualified for the Classic. Another man who's already qualified for this year and next year's Classic, Skeet Reese.
At least this hole, we got a couple minutes to drive around and check it out and see what's here. From here on out, man, we're just running hole to hole, not knowing. There's been a lot of fish in just these little secondary pockets. You know, the big main creeks, fish at the mouth of them and little secondary pockets out front, but a lot of fish have, you know, already been post-spawn, at least the fish, you know, the back of the main tributaries, but now the second wave of fish been more like main lake type of spawn. You know, we're off the main river channel here, but you got little secondary pockets like this, and that's where a lot of fish have been coming from. Come on, come on. I don't know if it's gonna be long enough. Oh yeah, we got a keeper in the boat, baby. Give me some love.
Skeet Reese, Kevin Van Dam, both of those guys have finished well enough to qualify for this year's and next year's Classic. Larry NIXON, on the other hand, is in a different boat. Larry NIXON, 39th in points on the tour this year. He's got to finish in the top 10 on the E50 to make the Classic himself.
I kind of think that was a gar, but it might not have been. Freaking striper. If it ain't a striper, I got a dandy.
Down there off that point, Mike IACONELLI, he and NIXON are fishing the same hole all day long.
Watch me fake IACONELLI out. Move over, I'm gonna act like I'm gonna put him in the lobby.
Few games going on right here, Tommy.
A little mind game. Larry NIXON knows how to play him. He's one of the competitors, guys.
Listen, IACONELLI is up around that corner there. I guarantee you he saw that going on. Of course, he's far enough away, he couldn't tell what kind of fish that was. And, you know, the way he moved it into the boat there, it would certainly pass for about a 4-pound largemouth, and IACONELLI is squirming right now.
I wish we had some time one of these days to just run down all these guys' games they play when they can see each other fishing, especially when they're all in contention in a tournament.
Hey, Larry NIXON is a real legend. When I think of bass fishing legends, I really think of Dean Brower and Rick Clunn and Larry NIXON. And boy, if you're trying to get interested in this sport, I sure hope you meet one of those guys because they will sell you on our sport. Larry NIXON is a classy guy. What a great bass fisherman.
Looks like that could be a keeper for Larry NIXON. Yes, sir. He's going to put that one in the box. So Larry NIXON doing good in this first period of day number 3 in the fishing. The deal is make it to the final 6. Mark Davis, the guy who's really getting it done in this first period. We got a lot of anglers, 12, trying to make it into the final 6. A lot more fishing to come from Smith Lake. We'll be right back.
The Citgo Bass Insider.
The weights produced by the professionals in the Citgo Bassmaster Elite 50 on Smith Lake can easily be described as inconsistent. They are up one day and down the next. But one thing Smith Lake has always done consistently is produce spotted bass, especially world record spotted bass. In the 1970s and 1990s, Smith Lake produced an amazing 8 consecutive world record spotted bass. In 1970, spotted bass from Smith Lake were transported to California and stocked in Pine Flat Reservoir. By the 1990s, the combination of Smith Lake spots and California weather produced 3 more world records, including the current record of 10.27 pounds, caught by Brian Shishido of Fresno, California.
The Bass Insider has been brought to you by Citgo.
Back on Smith Lake in Alabama, the Elite 50 season is underway. The top 50 ranked anglers from the Citgo Bassmaster Tour. They have fished for 2 days. This is day 3. We're down to 12 semifinalists shooting for 6 final spots on the championship day. They're fishing a 6-hole course, 2 boats in each hole. This is first period. This is Skeet Reese.
Look at the spotted bass he has coaxed out from underneath that beautiful, look at that ledge over there. Man, that is fantastic. And you know what? It occurs to me that we have a lot of anglers out here that are a little bit one-dimensional. You know, they're very good at one particular style. Skeet Reese is not one of them. He is so good at everything he fishes. Hard bait,
got two kids.
plastic, light stuff, drop shots, you name it. Skeet can fish it, and boy, he's one of the best right now.
I want to see what's on this hole.
Kevin VanDam is running, not fishing, because it's time to change holes. We're running into period number 2 right now. Of course, we're going to fish 6 periods, 1 period at each of the 6 holes today. At the end, the weather permits, we're going to have a 1-hour happy hour. That should be interesting to see where all these anglers go when they have their choice of the holes.
And you know, again, talking about these spotted bass, Tommy, you know, at this time of the year, you know, all the fish are pretty shallow. And you get a strike and you don't know whether it's a largemouth or a spot, but normally the spotted bass hang out on the steep banks and those rocky, bluffy-looking spots that we saw Skeet on, and I bet we're going to see Kev. There it is. Kevin's on the very same place. Largemouth end up in the back of the pockets and around some brush or submerged trees. These spots love those rocks.
Well, again, we've talked about how the water is clear here. The sight fishing has been an important part of this tournament so far. We're sort of in the waning days, probably, of their spawn. Still some spawning fish, but mostly they're post-spawners. And
you know, I think we've mentioned already that a little spotted bass, he's kind of a nosy little critter. So you don't have to get it, at least this is how it seems to me. You don't have to get as close to him with your lure. If you just get in the area, he's going to come running over there and taking a good look at it.
Totally different look at this spot right here. This is Chad Morgenthaler. It's like a little shallow pocket back there, and he's looking for his first fish of the day here in period number 2, and oh, that looks like a good one.
And you can't tell what kind of a bank it is. These banks, after you come out a little ways from the bank, just could drop off. So he could be fishing a bluff as well. It just doesn't look that way, but he has a keeper.
I knew they were here whenever I seen those other ones. Oh, yeah, daddy like.
All right, Mike IACONELLI making his move as well. Started out in hole number 5. He'll be moving on to 6. And remember, he's fishing in the same hole with Larry NIXON.
Man, these seawalls look so good. I'll tell you what it is, a lot of these seawalls, when they built the seawall, they actually would dig out the bottom for the footings of that wall. And as they dug the footings out for that wall, they build up a little rubble right in front of the wall there. And it's usually right in front of the brake lines. It's just an amazing area to catch them. My strategy in this hole is going to be to fish the seawall, and then if I don't get bit on the big one! Oh my God! Oh my God! Oh, wait, no, man.
I guess I get to hear him squeal in a minute, huh? I told you I was going to get to hear him squeal.
Tell you what I'm going to do on that one. I'm going to give everybody a show on that one. They want a show. Terry Scroggins is known as Big Show. I'm going to show him a big show. You ready for this? Get a little shot of this real quick. Get a little shot of this real quick. Let me see Larry NIXON and Mark Davis do that. No, I don't think so. I don't think so. Woo! I need a new jig head. I need a new jig head. Ah! I need a new jig head. No, I don't have a nerve problem, but When something makes me do that, I like doing it. Woo!
Seawalls. Don't tell anybody. We're gonna stay on the seawall this whole course.
That fish wasn't on the dock.
Larry Nixon watching the IACONELLI show. Who can not watch the IACONELLI show? He always puts on a good show. But so far, it's Mark Davis on day 3 of this Elite 50 competition. And a lot more fishing to come. Top 50 anglers from the Citgo Bassmaster Tour are now fishing the Elite 50 Series. We're on Smith Lake in Alabama. Day number 3, trying to make it to the final 6. Back to Mike IACONELLI.
If I can catch one a hole, man, from here on out, that's all I need. 5 holes left, including this one. I catch one a hole, I'm good. Tip top. 4 holes left.
Catching a limit, that's always the #1 priority for these guys on any fishing day.
I'm sure that they figure that if they can catch a limit today, they'll be able to move on to the finals. Now, I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what their plans are. And I'm sure Ike is not the only guy that figures 1 per hole. And they try to tell you that, well, I put that out of my mind and I just, you know, just try to go out there fishing. But I don't always believe that, Tommy. I think they have a plan and they feel pumped up if they're anywhere near it.
That's what I'm talking about, baby. Alabama, Kentucky spotted bass. Mwah. Woo. Yeah, man, oh yeah.
Well, Tommy, I'm just not sure what's going on right here.
You got to remember, we're in the entertainment business. Mike knows that, that's for sure.
I do know that we're looking at his little finesse worm drop down those rocky banks and off from one ledge into the next ledge. And I have to say this about IACONELLI. I love him. I really enjoy him. I think you feel the same way.
Sure.
And by gosh, if you're as successful as he is, man, he catches a lot of fish. He shows up in our finals a lot, so I guess he can do whatever he wants to do, can he?
Yeah, it takes all kinds. And when he gets down to it, when he talks about his fishing, it's obvious he knows his stuff.
Boy,
too.
I should say, he's one of the better guys out there explaining what's going on, and right now he's doing a good job of catching these fish.
Hi! Hi! How'd I beat that horn? Hi, Mom.
IACONELLI keeping things moving forward now over to Kevin VanDam. Won the Elite 50 Series last year, led this tournament the first 2 days.
This is primo stuff. Primo! Well, one of the problems with casting your jerkbait out in front of the boat.
Remember now, there are 12 anglers out on the course, and boy, the majority of them are throwing a little finesse worm, but every time we
Speak of the devil.
take a look at Kevin, he's throwing his little jerk bait, and again, he's trying to interest fish along those deep bluffs. It may be in anywhere from 8, maybe 12 feet of water to come up off the bottom and come after that bait. And here's a guy, Tommy, we haven't seen all day long. Come on, Davy HITE.
Former Classic champ Davy HITE needs to finish in the top 10 in the E50s to get back to the Classic this year.
Davy's doing a little better right here, and it kind of surprises me that he's been so long about catching a keeper. He's so good with his spinning tackle. He's so good with fishing these little finesse worms. At the techniques that these guys are doing so well, Davy ought to be excelling. So I bet you anything he's going to kick it in a little bit here and begin to get his 1 fish per hole, Tommy.
All right, we're going to go from Davy HITE over to Larry Nixon, another former Classic champ.
I'm going to catch one on that point right there. Damn it, Ike. Well, ain't no sense of me fishing that dadgum point.
Well, Larry Nixon will fish that point. You can bet on that. He's got the worm in his hand. He can catch him if anyone can.
Right now, I'm in about 17. I figure right where I hit's probably somewhere in that same neighborhood. This one's kind of rounded. I just try to cover all of it from 10 to about 15, 16 foot. Give him an opportunity to at least see it going down.
Larry Nixon always says his favorite thing is to fish structure that not everyone else can see and understand, but he's a guy who understands what's going on under the water.
And I think that's why he does so well in this format. You know, he was the champ of the old Mega Buck.
Right.
And that was this course. And so, you know, everyone talks about Larry being from Toledo Bend, which he is, and he really learned a lot on Toledo Bend. But by gosh, Larry Nixon started on Greer's Ferry Lake in central Arkansas, and if that isn't a Smith Lake looking lake,
that's a model for Smith Lake,
it
absolutely.
certainly is the same style of fishing. So Larry's got a leg up on.
Yeah, you rat! Don't that bum you. See, he's done been in all these good holes.
Legendary Larry Nixon, he's hanging in there currently in 6th place. You got to make it to the top 6 so you can fish on the final day. There's more fishing yet to come. We will wrap up and find out who our Super 6 are when we come back. There's the dam at Lewis Smith Lake here in north central Alabama, the first Elite 50 event of the year. The top 50 ranked anglers from the Citgo Bassmaster Tour. Day 3 competition, we're down to 12. 12 shooting for the final 6 places on championship day. This is Chad Morgenthaler. Started off the day with a really good bass, but has had kind of a drought, but he has stopped at this one place and loaded up, completed his limit right here.
Boy, he is cleaning up on this little rocky point. You might think he's fishing a boat dock, and there is a boat dock there. He is behind it, but he is fishing that rocky, bluffy bank where those spotted bass are at. And boy, 85% of the fish that we have seen today have been spotted bass. Tommy, I don't hardly remember a largemouth bass. Chad's was a spotted bass. Davy HITE, who's also kind of had a tough day, but he didn't kick it in like Chad
Jump on in here with me.
Yeah, he finally put the spotted bass in the boat. SKEET REESE is culling with spots, and you have to have 5 or you will not be with us on the final day.
Well, SKEET REESE has got 5 right there. Also, Larry Nixon has got 5 fish. Both of these guys in the 10 to 11 pound range. So these guys are going to be sweating it out come weigh-in time. We are going to have one of the tightest weigh-ins ever among a top 12, one of these Elite 50 events. Take a look, Mark Davis, the man who has really made the big splash today. He and Kevin Worth as well. We got a lot of guys sweating it out. 2 guys who really got more work to do. Well, that would be Kevin VanDam and Mike IACONELLI, still shy of their limits at this point. All right, back out to the course, and Mike IACONELLI. Mike, tell us what's happening right now on the course for you.
Tommy, the fishing is just, it's amazing. The pattern that I've been fishing this whole week's holding true, which is post-spawn spotted bass on these flat clay type of points, and you get a little wind that makes it even better. And you know, this hole, it's awesome, this format, because you know, what I'm doing is I'm looking at a map and looking at places that remind me of what I fished in the tournament. And the pattern's working. You know, I've probably caught over 20 fish today already, and 3 keepers. So I'm pretty excited about the rest of the day. You know.
Explain these holes for us. Help us to understand and what they're all about.
Most of these areas that we're fishing, you know, this next point's a good example. The boat's going to be in deeper water. It's going to be about 15 to 20 foot of water, but we're actually casting up on the shelf. So the fish are coming 8 to 12 foot deep, which is a real typical post-spawn depth for the fish, you know. And
where are they grabbing your bait?
I'm getting bit as that bait comes down the ledge. I'm trying to cast almost to the bank and work it down that slope. And you know, these fish are lethargic, they're done to spawn, and they want an easy meal. And this little 4-inch Berkeley power worm on a jig head is the perfect answer to catch those fish.
Mike IACONELLI, who used to sell tackle at Dick's Sporting Goods at a store up there. How many people have come in and said, hey, I bought jig heads from that kid, now he's the classic champion.
That is right. He's got some work to do here. He has to put a few more fish. A couple of these guys have got some work to do to make it into an area where we think you need to be to make that final 6. And you know what, this course, I love this course. I think of all the courses that we've been on, that we have seen set up, this one may be my very favorite, just because it's, well, there's a lot of room and a lot of different ways to catch these fish. And you know what, you can't really predict what the bank looks like with the naked eye, by just looking over there and taking a look at it, because there is so much contour out there, and so many drop-offs. You have to depend on your electronics, and all these guys do that. You get over to the bank, you kind of search around a little bit, and you,
yeah,
that
look
fish
out.
right there. You have to just kind of feel your way around to figure out exactly what these banks are like. So when you get over around the banks and you can get a good look at it, you'll see that there's 2 and even 3 different level of ledges. And the first ledge might be in 4 feet of water. That's where the fish are spawning or they're guarding their fry. And then you might drop another 5, 6 feet down and there'll be another ledge. And there's probably even a ledge below that. But those are the ones the guys are targeting. And if you throw a little tube or a fluke or something like that into that first ledge, you're going to get a response from that shallow fish, again, that might be roaming up and down that bank, having already spawned. Then you can throw a topwater bait in around the bank anywhere and sometimes pull those fish all the way off that 10 or 12 foot ledge. And Kevin right now has moved in on one that is spawning.
Okay, I got a different deal here. I gotta change that color because they are not reacting to that at all. He's getting a lot more fired up. Here he comes. You see him come across right there? Oh, trying to get a good look at him. I'm sure that's 16 inches. Oh, he bumped my bait. It's close. Oh, he hit it. I missed him. He's almost caught. He's not moving out of the way now. He's tolerating the cast. That's exactly what you like him to do. Bumped it again. Pretty soon you get them mad enough that they won't. Got her. Let's keep her too. Good spot.
Level 1, Zone 1 pays off for KVD.
Yeah, that fish was in shallow water. Makes Kevin very happy. He needs to get going there. Both he and IACONELLI need a fish or two.
Come on, fish. Man, I need number 5. Bad in this hole. Come on. There you go. Feels like a good one, too. Yep, it's a giant. It's a giant. It's a giant. It's a giant. Oh! Yeah! Number 5, baby! Woo! Yeah! Man, I worked hard for that one. Yeah! Yeah! I said it was a giant. It wasn't really a giant.
IACONELLI looking good, feeling good with the limit. Now it's time for Kevin VanDam to respond.
Oh, there's a whole, look at them all. I got 2 or 3. Back off, back off. I got 2 on right now. A good one, too. There's a whole school of big ones here, guys. Oh, my God, I mean, there's 4-pounders swimming with him. No, I think he's a keeper.
This is a neat place, huh?
And again, this is what happens with spotted bass. They'll all get in a gang. I said earlier, they're kind of nosy. They really are. They want to go up there and find out what's going on.
Dude, there's some giants right there with them. I can't tell you, there's tons. I had 2 on 2 different times. Big ones. God, there were some big ones there.
Kevin VanDam, IACONELLI, Skeet, Reese, Larry, NIXON. Hey, they're all hovering around that cutoff point. We're going to take it down to 6 anglers who will fish for the championship of the first E50 of the year. And we'll do that when we come back.
Purelator, Toyota, and Triton Boats.
The first 2 days of the first 2005 Elite 50 tournament, and it's all about the guy who won the season championship last year, Kevin VanDam. Days 1 and 2, and he's over 30 pounds, looks unstoppable. But the thing is that the weights go to 0 after 2 days of fishing. You qualify for the top 12, then you start over again. Day 3 is all about making it to the final 6, and if you can build up the lead again, then great. But thanks to Mother Nature, Day 3 is off to a flying stop. A massive thunderstorm brings the wind, the rain, and the hail. When the fishing does get underway, VanDam manages to get his limit, but it doesn't look dominating. Davey HITE and Jeff Creech struggle. They'll be the only two who don't get limits. Mike IACONELLI makes the most noise on Day 2. A really nice fish and a really big Ike-style celebration. The happy hour has made Larry NIXON happy. He's got his limit. So is SKEET REESE. And Chad Morgenthaler has found 4 more to go with the good fish he caught earlier in the day. Now it's time to see what Mark Davis, Zell Rowland, Kelly Jordon, Kevin Worth, and Jay Ellis have done. Only 6 get to fish the final day. A good crowd. Beautiful evening now that the weather has cleared out, and the weigh-in gets started in the twilight. Davey HITE will fall short this time. NIXON is also working on another important project.
Oh, I just want to make the classic, you know. That's my whole game, is make the classic.
10 pounds and 12 ounces.
He's got a limit, 10-12, and that looks good for now. SKEET REESE brings in another limit, and he's right in there, 10 pounds, 2 ounces. Next up, Mike IACONELLI. A limit again with a decent kicker fish, and he's right in between Reese and NIXON. We were promised a tight weigh-in, and we're getting it.
If I was to make the cut and the weights are close, I'd feel real good about it.
I just love to fish, and it doesn't matter if we was fishing for money or not. I want to go fishing tomorrow.
Zell Rowland gets to the stage and weighs in 12-3. He's looking solid for making the cut. And Kevin Worth follows right behind to take the top spot by an ounce.
The shakeup continues.
Jay Ellis is next, and the former Classic champ jumps into 3rd place on top of the 10-pound-plus log jam. Kelly Jordon is another angler who's got more than 100 grand on his mind.
I've had my worst year in 5 years on the Bassmaster Tour this year. Did not make the Classics, so my goal this year on the E50 is to qualify for the Classics, be in the top 10. So.
He's got 11 pounds and 9 ounces, and now
Kelly keeps the turnaround going as he moves in behind Worth into 3rd place. That eliminates SKEET REESE, and now IACONELLI's the bubble man. He hangs on through Jeff Creech. Chad Morgenthaler is next. He's not real sure.
I was feeling pretty good until we all put the boats on the trailer and started talking, and I realized that, you know, and I knew these guys would catch them, and that's just a given. But I'm fortunate. I got one decent bite today, and I hope that'll put me over the edge. We'll see.
But he didn't need to worry. He's in, solid, behind Kevin Worth. Mark Davis had been the closest qualifier to Kevin VanDam, and obviously thrives in these kind of tournament scenarios.
And I figured they'd all catch him, but they caught him even a little better than I thought they would.
We all wound up with about the same weight. So one decent fish or two is going to sway the leader.
And Davis takes the lead in a big way. IACONELLI and NIXON are gone. Jay Ellis on the bubble with one guy left. Kevin VanDam has not had a big day today, but he's got his limit.
It's a great lake. It's full of fish, but it's just hard to catch a big one. I saw a few big ones today, and I just didn't quite, you know, get to capitalize on it. So I would love to make it and have a shot at tomorrow.
They're on the scales.
He needs 10 pounds, 15 ounces to bump Jay Ellis and make it to the finals. And he does it with an extra 1 ounce to spare. The final field is set. VanDam, Jordon, Rowland, Morgenthaler, Worth, leading the way. In fact, showing off today, Mark Davis.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for the Super 6 fishing tomorrow, the Elite 50, $100,000 cash on the line.
Oh boy, I think that was the closest weigh, the tightest weigh-in we've ever had among a top 12 ever. And Rick and Jerry, I think the guys who slipped into that top 6 are saying, I'm glad I'm here.
Hey, I would pick number 5 to start in it, but who cares what hole I'm going to I want to know what Rick Clun is going to pick.
Well, I think it's important as what hole you start in. It's the sequence of holes that you're going to be going in before everybody beats them up. I like hole 2 and 4 because they're both in bends. They have a lot of spawning pockets. So I would have probably started in hole 2 so I could go to 3 and 4 in that sequence.
Don't you just love Mike Iaconelli?
I do like Mike. I find it amusing that Mike has gotten a lot of grief because of his enthusiasm, because early in my career I was critiqued because of the lack of enthusiasm or emotion, let me use that word. I think the most important thing is that you're genuine. You've got to be who you are, and I think Mike is genuinely the way he is.
Wrap her up.
Yeah, we got to recognize a few other guys. Among them, Tommy Biffle, the Pure Later Big Bass so far in this tournament, 5 pounds and 13 ounces. Our Horizon Award, the Toyota Horizon Award for the most improved angler for 2005. It's going to be Gary Yamamoto, and our Bush Shootout has one more entry from this tournament. 20 pounds and 2 ounces. Day one, Kevin Van Dam. That puts him the man on the bubble in 10th place. We'll see if that holds out until the season's end. One more question for you, Rick. Haven't seen the course now. How much more efficiently are these guys going to fish on the final day?
I think they've got to really balance the speed that a lot of them fish like Kevin and Mike Iaconelli. As the tournament progresses, you've got to really slow down and become more precise. That tells me that Mark Davis's motor runs at the same speed all the time, and that he's probably going to do very well. In fact, he just ended up 10th in the greatest angler debate. But if you ask me who the best all-time post-spawn fisherman is, it's Mark Davis.
Not a bad pick for another reason as well. There's been 4 E50s completed so far. He's won 2 of them. We'll see if he can do it for a 3rd time 2 weeks from today when we wrap it up at Smith Lake. We hope to see you there.
This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more, log on to Bassmaster.com.